All right, guys, I know you guys have heard me talk about the MoonPay app before, and honestly, I'm not going to stop. I just think MoonPay, honestly, is the best crypto app in the game by far. Pretty much every crypto provider you can think of, they use MoonPay, and that's how you can use your debit cards, your credit cards, Venmo, PayPal, literally every payment provider MoonPay uses. Something really cool that MoonPay just added is they're now working with Rally, which is a social crypto wallet that allows you to track, trade, and discover new NFTs and meme coins. You can follow your friends and top traders directly in the app, and you can receive real-time updates and start trading in less than a minute. Whether you're a new crypto user or an old crypto user, MoonPay is the best app in the game by far. So download the MoonPay app. Stay tuned to our socials too, because every single week we're giving away $1,000 in crypto. All you got to do is DM us your wallet address and you have a chance to win $1,000 every single Monday. Take advantage of that, guys. It's a free $1,000. Shout out to MoonPay, the best crypto app in the game. Let's get back on the pod. What was the best decade to party in, you think?
When you're young, whatever decade that is.
80s, 90s.
No, I'm saying whatever young, doesn't matter. There's people always partying, but it's a young man's game, young person's game.
So what was your favorite?
Like partying, like actually.
Like what era you were like?
I mean, I was out of control, really. Not out of control, but sometimes.
You're out of control.
I'm just saying, I feel like I ran a little roughshod over this town from say, I don't know, not really the 80s. It was really older because I had
90s.
money and more money and, invited to more things. Like after I got politically incorrect started in 93, I used to go out a lot with my great friend Christopher Kid Reed from Kid and Play.
90s in LA was probably sick.
He was my, we were drinking buddies and we were a bad influence on each other. I used to call him Ted for a while because I had a girlfriend who did not like him. And he's the greatest guy in the world, but it was like he was,
What's his name? Ted?
No, his name is Chris, but I called him Ted because he was like Ted from the movie.
Okay.
Remember the movie Ted?
Yeah.
And, Mila Kunis does not want Mark Wahlberg to have his teddy bear because it's just leading him to, they're going to go do stupid boy shit and drink too much. And Chris was kind of like Ted like that. And I was like, I'm not giving up my teddy bear. I'm sorry.
When you get that one friend, you just bounce off each other.
But yes, and we both liked our pot and liked our liquor. I mean, I drank too much. That was the stupid thing. I should have just done it on pot. But you're young and your body takes it. You will party to the extent that your body lets you. That's the rule I've found in life. That's just the way it is. When your body lets you have 30 drinks a week, you will.
That's so true. And then you just shut down one day.
No, not shut down. Well, I mean, when I was younger, I definitely got more colds, flu, that kind of shit, because I kept my body shittier. I had all that liquor to process, which is not good. So my body was compromised, and did not have the defenses. Nothing horrible happened, but you're smoking and drinking and partying and not getting enough sleep. Yeah, you're going to be such, and now much less.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a crazy party story?
I'm sure I've got 1,000, but
you gotta tell us one.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I guess I did crazy things. I mean, I didn't ever get up on the roof and jump into the pool. I mean, it wasn't like rock star shit, but
what was the craziest party you've been to?
I had a couple of big ones here when I first got this.
Oh, you throw shakers?
No, not for 20 years.
Yeah.
But when I live next door, you know that, right? So this property came available a few years after I moved in, and it was a lot of room, and I wasn't actually living here, so I said, oh, great, let's throw a party. I mean, this room itself was one of the big parts. You know,
Yeah, I could see that.
this is a great party room because
Fuck
you
yeah, it
can't destroy it. It's just so solid and ugly to begin with. Well, I made it beautiful with all the stuff on the walls and stuff, but I mean, it's just concrete and, you know, it is a down and dirty place. And that's perfect for a party with a bar and a pool table. And but I had people swarming all over this property. I mean, it was like an all day. And then, of course, LA people come way late and then don't leave when you want them to. They won't leave.
They don't get the fuck out in LA. I noticed that. And they also think, people in LA think they can just like walk into any part. It's like an open house policy.
You mean
Compared to like Miami or something, like
if you're having a party and people just see it on the block, they'll just walk in?
Well, people hear about it now. Like people text each other and it's like, yo, there's a party here. And it's like, if you don't let people in, they kind of get pissed. Because it's like, I think LA is more like an open house policy.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would really not go for that.
Yeah, it sucks.
I would be in a bad place if I had to like be the one to deal with people who got mad at me if I didn't let it. Because like my recollection of like the two parties I threw is like, I think both times somebody let somebody in, or somebody got in who was like a real turd in the punch bowl. You know, after the party was over, I heard from like every girl, oh, you know, there's this asshole that was hitting on everybody. Like, in an obnoxious way. Like, okay, who? This guy? Oh, I don't even know this guy.
Yeah.
So throwing parties
it's a liability.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just think, hey, you know, I'll have some people over. It seems like nothing. And then it's like, well, there's got to be food and we have liquor and you have to have enough supplies. And is the toilet going to overflow? You know, and it's just, it's even a small party, it doesn't seem like a lot. It's a lot. And to throw a big party, I mean, you could buy a nice car for what like that party cost.
Right.
I had a lot of people.
I bet.
You know, and also if you're a party like that, you need people, just bartenders, and you know, it's a lot.
Are you into cars?
No.
No. What are you into? Anything like watches or like anything like that?
No, I'm not that materialistic.
What do you like to spend your money on?
I like having a lot of land.
Just buying land?
Well, land here.
How much land you got here? Like, how many grand?
I have a good spread here. It's not exactly the Ponderosa, but you could hold a hunt here if you combined all the spaces. Yeah, I'm not a materialistic person like that. I was robbed here, or at least ransacked, like last year, a break-in while I was out. And
at your house?
Yeah, right next where I live, next door. And, you know, all the drawers were open. And you know what they took? Nothing. Because there's nothing to take. They were looking for cash, I assume. You know, any like briefcase, anything they thought might have cash in it. But, you know, we're not in the era anymore where people steal TVs. You know,
yeah.
The TVs, you could.
Yeah.
So what was, you know, they were looking for jewelry, which I really don't have.
Yeah.
You know, I have a watch. I mean, you know, I don't give a shit about stuff like that.
That's a scary thing.
But nothing. They didn't take anything because they didn't find anything.
That's good.
Scorched earth policy. So they're robbers.
You've had to done something crazy.
But then I fucking went nuts making this place robber-proof.
Yeah.
I didn't even have an alarm,
How did you go about that?
Oh, I can't tell you all the things, but I'm not going to give away our tricks. But we definitely, the alarm was the first thing, and then, yeah, I pitied a fool who tries to break in here now.
Yeah. There's a lot of like home robberies in LA, right?
Lots of they call it home invasion. Yes, we have a lot of home invasion.
One of my best friends got his car robbed too here. Like he just parked it, and when he came back, the car was gone. And then eventually he tracked it down 2 days later, and it was just completely torn apart. Like all the parts were gone and shit. Like that LA's getting a bit fucked with that.
Oh, totally. You live out here.
I live in Miami now.
Oh, Miami.
I lived here for like 7 years in LA.
Oh.
I'm from Toronto, Canada originally.
Ah.
But I came down here when our YouTube started getting big because this was the spot for YouTube and all the influencers. But we just moved to Miami about a year and a half ago.
Well, I'm going to have to make a call and you will be deported because you're not an American and we do not like migrants anymore. So bye-bye.
I actually helped our mutual friend Trump a lot. I actually got shouted out in the inauguration speech. So
you're more of a friend. I would say we're acquainted now.
You're good friends with Dana, though, right?
I am not good friends.
No.
I'm good friends with Kid Rock.
Kid Rock.
He's my friend. Dana White sat there. We did the podcast. That was nice. I like Dana. I like everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody. Doesn't mean I agree with everybody or, go so far as to here's a funny story. So before we went to the White House, like a week before, Bob, Kid Rock, texted me and he said, he showed me this picture of it's like a vintage guitar or something. And he said, hey, I found this guitar. What do you think we get this and give it to POTUS as a gift? And I texted back, Bob, I'm not at the gift-giving level yet. Okay, let's see how the first date goes. Okay. So I think it's important that we all talk to each other. And I want to talk to people. And I think anyone who thinks it would have been the smart thing not to go to the White House when you're invited by the President of the United States to have an intimate dinner and talk to him is absolutely fucking nuts.
Yeah.
And I am super glad I went. And I have said to the right-wingers, I took a lot of shit from the left for doing it. Always stood my ground, went right back to criticizing Trump exactly how I would have had we never met. I kept my honor, but I definitely think we should talk. And could I become friends with anyone? Yes, but it never happens. Not friends. Friends happens over time.
Yeah, but you can also be friends with someone, I guess, and not agree with them politically.
Totally friendly, but friends is something different.
Yeah, but Trump had to have cracked you up behind the scenes.
Both ways. I think he really
hilarious.
I think he really enjoyed having somebody there.
Yeah,
who was funny and did make him laugh.
You guys were probably spitting back and forth.
Yeah, the whole time. And, the left got very mad at me for reporting exactly, honestly, the way it happened. And I kept saying, did you see what I said about it? Did you see the
I saw it.
Okay. So, I kept saying, I'm just tell you what happened. I'm the messenger here. I'm just telling you. This is information for you to deal with. And, of course, for a lot of people, it's the old line from the great movie, you can't handle the truth. They just couldn't handle the truth.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think you gained a lot of respect by doing that.
Totally.
Anyone that thinks you shouldn't have fucking discourse is just...
It's crazy.
Yeah.
First of all, the left has no power. And you're still not going to talk to them?
Right.
That's crazy. It's talk about misjudging your leverage. you don't control anything, and your method is you're gonna run into the room screaming. This is like high school lunch table thing.
But you wouldn't have probably met with him in his last term, right? So there had to be some sort of shit. You would have.
Well,
but there's been a shift, obviously.
Anytime the President of the United States ever invites me to the White House for a private dinner,
you're gone.
I'll go. The first term. One reason why this made sense to a degree was it's sort of what they call a Nixon in China thing. Now, that refers to when Nixon went to China to open up China, communist China. People after that always called it a Nixon to China thing because it meant Nixon had been so hard on communism that it made sense for him he had the credibility to go to China and open it up because he was the last person they thought was weak on communism. Same with me and Trump. I had been so critical for so long, I think, all with the facts on my side, that it made sense. And of course, the night before the dinner, he shit tweeted a bunch of.
Right? Yeah.
It was hysterical. It was perfect. I was so glad of that. It made it in character. You know, this stupid Bill Maher's coming. Kid Rock thought it was a good idea. I don't think it's a good idea. It was great. And then, of course, he was completely different when I was there. And he is very different. And I know that bothers people, but it's just the truth. And but it made sense for me. And you know, one of my prized possessions right now is I brought him that sheet of paper where I printed count them, 56 different insulting things he said about me. And of course, he signed it without question.
You probably loved it. Yeah.
I mean, he certainly did it with no hesitation. I said, will you sign this?
Yeah.
And it's just the funniest, greatest fucking memento in the world.
Where do you got that at?
It's hanging in my living room.
Yeah. You frame it?
Totally. Yeah. Of course.
Yeah.
Actually, I had a facsimile made, because you can't tell the difference, and framed it. The real one I keep in a safe.
Yeah. Away from the robbers.
Away from this house.
Yeah.
Just a safe.
Really?
Yeah.
Just way away.
Yeah. I have nothing here. I mean, maybe that would be, you know, something that people would want to steal. I don't know. I don't think it'd be worth that much money, but it's worth a lot to me, and it's just funny.
All right, guys, also really quick, fullsend.com, we just restocked it with brand new UFC full send shit. You guys love this shit. We just got a ton of new designs. I have them all in my closet. They're so clean, so fresh. We revamped the entire quality too. A little more heavyweight, a little more thick. You guys have been loving it. Also, we're gonna be at the fight this weekend. Obviously, we're cheering on our boy Sugar Sean. If you guys are at the arena, pop by the merch areas, cop some UFC full send shit. Trust me, when you're in the arena, everyone's rocking this shit. I think full send UFC is outselling every single other UFC collab, which is sick. So guys, go to fullsend.com, grab something, rep the send. I love these UFC full send shirts. I fucking live in them. Let's get back in the pod. Where do you think the left lost people? I think it was with the transgender shit.
Well, it's all that kind of stuff. Now, I know your audience, you know, we can talk about this all day and they'll think, oh, great. But, you know, just put it in perspective. I think the right is even worse because they don't respect the rule of law anymore, and they certainly don't respect democracy. Whether we will ever really have another election, we don't know. The fact that when a Republican wins the White House, life goes on the next day. It's fine. It's perfect. No problem. If a Democrat wins, they just go ape shit and make up a lot of shit about how it wasn't a real fair election, which is all just fucking made up. And you guys and you kids who think that that's all cool, you should own that and do a little more research.
That was just the Biden one, though, right? I personally saw no evidence that it was rigged, but yeah.
It was not. Many people studied it, including Republicans. It was thrown out of court like 60 times. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
But that's where the you know, bros are. But why that happened, I completely understand, because to your point about transgender, it's not just transgender. The far left, what we call the woke, you know, they seem to embrace every sort of like obviously, aggressively anti-common sense thing. So that people, like regular normal people, a lot of them don't follow politics that closely, but they go, these people just seem to be so deliberately counterintuitive to common sense. Mm-hmm. Like, you really want to put this hulking trans woman, but obviously looks like a very large man on the woman against women swimming and things like that. And they
It's
just
so
go,
fucking absurd.
I can't let people who have this worm in their brain, whatever that worm is. Bobby Kennedy's not the only one with a worm in his brain. I just can't let those people take over this country. And I totally get that. It's one reason that the right does not hate me, even though I call them out on their shit just as much and never stop calling Trump out on his shit. Because I recognize the craziness on the other side too, and I call them out on their shit just as much. It's just that if I had to balance the two, the left shit, yes, is still less fundamentally, existentially threatening. And it actually affects way
left
less.
just got too, like the woke shit got too far. You know what I mean?
And it is bad, and it has affected lots of people. Just not as much as if we never really have an election again. And a lot of the other stuff.
What do you mean by that?
Like I just said.
There'll be no more. What do you mean there's no more elections?
When a Democrat loses, like Kamala, like Hillary, they go away. They understand there's a winner and a loser in elections. You think if Trump lost this last one, he would have just accepted it?
Probably not, yeah.
Right.
I don't think that's a right issue. I think that's just a Trump issue.
Trump is...
Like if JD Vance loses, if he runs next year, he'll probably shake hands and move on like a gentleman. But it's Trump.
That's possible.
That's what you get.
That's possible. But Trump is the right now.
Yeah.
So
but I think that's just a Trump issue. That's just what you get.
That's a very sanguine way to look at it. That's possible. I'm not going to say that's not possible, but expecting a very rosy future based on that may not be.
Kamala was pretty, let's say, respectful, obviously, like the way she handled it, but let's say it was like that Ilhan Omar girl that ran or something.
Well, she's not going to be the...
Or AOC. I bet I could see them saying it was rigged too or something, or having like a bit of a hissy fit. Ilhan Omar would not accept the results.
Ilhan Omar is not going to be the Democratic nominee for president.
But I'm saying there's different people in each parties that might throw a little bit of a fuss if they don't win.
A little bit of a fuss is different than what they have done, what they tried to do in 2020. And by the way, he knows that.
It's Trump. He's a different type of guy, right?
The private guy knows that.
Yeah.
All right, I got to do my other show.
Awesome. Well, this is awesome having you. I appreciate it. It's good sitting down with you and just getting
the
free knowledge and wisdom.
Basketball injury, so that's what I'm gonna.
Oh, basketball injury. You balling?
Yeah,
How'd you injure it? Just the jam fit.
The pros are always, because then it's like, it's funny. It doesn't hurt, but it's got that, unless you put the splint on, it's going to be like that for life.
Yeah.
It's the tendon.
That's the worst injury.
It's the worst because I can't play.
Oh, true.
Actually, I was out there yesterday just playing lefty.
Damn.
It's tough.
Just passing and shit?
No, I was just,
a couple left-hand layups.
Working on, I can shoot like a short hook shot lefty, and I can, of course, shoot a lefty layup. You can always make a positive out of a negative. If I come out of this better with going to my left, which I should, with all the training I've been putting in, then I'm going to look on the bright side.
That's a great way to end it.
All right.
Thank you, Bill. We appreciate
Pleasure.
Awesome.
Thank you for having me on.
That was awesome.